I'm tired, y'all. This ankle is not flattering, but we're gonna stay here in it. So, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Kim. People call me Cash. I am a nurse here in New York, and I want to take you guys along with me throughout a 12-hour shift, 12 and a half hour shift. So let's do this day in the life of a registered nurse who works the night
guys,
shift.
so the time now is approximately 6:22, about 6:30 p.m. I am now leaving my house and I am going to zoom over to work. So typically this is the time that I'm trying to like mentally prepare myself to get to work. I guess to start the shift rather. So this is when I have like my music on, or I'm finally like returning phone calls or text, not necessarily text messages because you can't text and drive, but I'm returning phone calls and texts that I've missed when I am sleeping, because I normally sleep on the off schedule. Like when people are up, I'm sleeping, and when I'm up, people are sleeping. People still send me messages and stuff like that and try to reach out to me, and they just know that I'll get to them whenever I get to them. So this is the time when I'm actually like, you know, trying to squeeze in my last few minutes of like speaking and things of that sort. And by the time we get to work, I just have to put on my head covering. And my coworker, she actually makes these are so cute. So she makes these head covers, and this one has like the ponytail in the back, and she also makes like the matching mask. Now this one, you wear it on top of your N95, or you can wear it on top of your regular surgical mask. Now I am a nurse here in New York, so we are still practicing very similarly to how we were practicing when COVID was very prevalent here in the city. Right now we're kind of dying down, thank God for that, but we're kind of dying down on the number of cases that we're getting and the number of deaths. And the thing is, it's kind of affected most of the nurses that I know, in the sense that like we're still not comfortable walking around, especially when it comes to walking around at work, being at work without our masks and our, you know, gowns and things like that. So it's kind of made us a little bit more conscious, a little bit more, I could say, anxious too, with regards to how exposed or how unexposed we are. Now you guys do notice I have on no makeup, okay, please, but I'm gonna drag myself before any of y'all try to drag me. I do look cuter when I have my eyebrows on, okay? Ironically enough, the day that I decide to do a day in the life video, vlog, whatever it is that I'm doing, this is the day that I'm running late for work. How crazy is this? More often than not, I'm always on time. But because I work in a different borough from where I live, I do have to take the highway. I have to, you know, cross the bridge and stuff like that. So sometimes, you know, things are outside of my control. So today's one of the days where things are outside my control. Right now, I would have already been on the floor. Right now it's 7 o'clock, so I'm gonna be just a little bit tardy. I'm in the area, so as you guys can see, my head is already wrapped. We are going to switch over to my phone, because by the next time you see me, I'll be on the unit. Alrighty, so let me try to
take some of this off so you guys can hear me, see me, feel me. Ay, ay, ay. All right, hopefully you guys can see. It's relatively dark. Approximately, it's 10 o'clock. Now, I've come on the unit. I've been on the unit for about like 3 hours now. Let me sit down. So I've been on the unit for about 3 hours. FYI, this is a clean gown. I just, came out of everything and I'm just putting on a clean gown because I don't have like a lab coat, or not a lab coat, one of the scrub coats. I forgot my scrub top like coat, or the over, like the jacket thing. And I don't like having my skin like out at all. I hate it, especially at work. So nevertheless. So I've been on the unit now for about 3 hours. Now, between 7 and 10, that is the time frame that allows me to really have an idea, or it gives me an impression of like, what am I going to be dealing with for the rest of the night? Am I going to have a good night? Am I going to have a busy night? Am I going to have a calm night? Am I going to be running around crazy? Like, it kind of lets me know how to pace myself and what to prioritize. So I normally start the shift like with high energy because I like my coworkers. I love what I do. So it's like, I'm normally super excited when I come to work. As soon as I come, like if there's things for me to grab, I'm always asking like, what's left? What have you not completed during your shift? What can I do to take, like, what can I start with? And what exactly can I manipulate so that my shift could be a little bit like easier. So for me today, I'm in the PCU room. PCU stands for Progressive Care Unit, which basically is like a step down ICU. My hands are clean. Okay, my hands are clean. It's like a step down ICU unit. And with that, we have patients who are not necessarily the easiest, or the patients who, they're not necessarily medically stable enough to be on like a regular med surg floor, but they also are not critical enough to require ICU. So they're kind of like that in between. They're in that kind of like middle gray area, right? So for me, I have the PCU. I have 2 patients that are on vents. I have of the 4, 2 are on vents. 3 of the 4 are DNR. All 4 of them are COVID positive. All 4 of them are on supplemental oxygen. All 4 of them have, some hemodynamic instability. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with tonight. Now, I could say from after I take report from about like 7 o'clock, like around like 7:30ish, because we give report for about like 30 minutes. And I know depending on where you work, it may be called handoff, report, endorsement, whatever the case is. We call it report or we call it endorsement. So after I take my endorsement, I go into the room. I take a quick look at all the patients. Inverse. I see the patients before I take endorsement, because you never want to take endorsement on patients that you haven't seen, because sometimes nurses, they complete their shift a little bit earlier than they're supposed to, and they don't round on their patients like right before they give you a report. So they might be telling you, oh, the patient is fine, stable, no line is in place, et cetera, and they haven't been to see the patient. They haven't seen the patient like the last hour or 2 hours or whatever the case is. Now, if you just go off of what the nurse says, you may walk into the room, you might have a patient who is dead. You might have a patient who's bleeding. You might have a patient who has fallen. So, you want to just make a quick round on your patients, see what's going on, and then come out and take a report. So that's what I do. I go assess the room, and I've been a nurse for a few years now, and I'm pretty quick. So I do a quick, I just look at the room, what's going on, who's on oxygen, how much oxygen is this person on, how are they saturation, how are they breathing. If anything, the patients that are in my room, they're on telemetry monitoring. So I take a quick look at the heart rate, see who's Brady, see who's tachy, see who's AFib, try to get like a quick, look at the room. I look at the lines, who has a PIC line, whose line is infiltrated, and then come out and I take report. Now, after I take report, I then log into the computer, and after I've logged into the computer, I can see all of the orders that were placed sometimes there are orders that's placed between our 30-minute handover. And I also look at like the medications and like who's on drips, who's on kind of like life sustaining like medications. When is this order going to expire? Who has restraints? Is the restraint order active? I need all of this in place before I sit down. So You log in, get all of that in place, blah, 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 blah. Go to the doctor. Hey, do you see this order? Add this order for me. This patient doesn't have a neuro assessment. Please add one. Change the vitals from every hour to every 4 hours, whatever the case is, right? So we do all of those things before we actually sit down. Now, when we finally sit down, I like to write my receiving notes on all of my patients. I start doing, I guess, like a basic assessment in the computer. So I just document whatever I've seen. So that may not include the respiratory, like the breath sounds. That may not include the heart sounds. That may not include the skin, because I haven't done any care on the patients yet. I haven't really gone in and done a physical assessment. I'm just going based off what I'm seeing. I can document the patient's general condition or general appearance. I can document if I see the lines that are in place. I can document if SEDs are in place. I try to do as much as I can in the beginning so that when I go back and chart, which is going to be now, I can finish off some things. So now after I've done that, normally we have PCTs, which are patient care technicians, or some places call them PCAs or CNAs. Those ancillary staff are the ones who basically do the vitals, which may include the finger sticks. The bad thing about working the night shift is that, and especially if you're starting off on the weekend like I am, we are normally short staffed. So for me tonight, there's only one PCT on the floor, and our unit has 33 patients. No, it's actually 36 patients. Now they've kind of increased our capacity given the fact that we were getting a lot of COVID patients. So I have to do my own finger sticks. I have to do my own temps. I have to do my own vitals, have all of this in place before I go and pull meds. And if you guys saw in the clip before, I did all of those things in order for me to pull my medications. So now that my medications are given, when I go into the room, I do like a one-hitter quitter. Like, I have my stethoscope, I have everything that I need. I bring extra water, I bring extra snacks. So when I go in and I'm giving meds, prior to me giving my meds, after I've given my meds, now I'm going to take a quick listen to the lung sounds, listen to the heart sounds. If my patient can turn over, have them turn over, take a quick look at the skin. Or if my patient is not able to turn over, but they are incontinent, I do a quick change on whoever I can, to change by myself. And in my case, I just changed all 3 of my patients by myself. Welcome to the night shift. So now, right now, I have to finish my charting because I now have a complete overview, a complete idea, a picture of how my patients are and what they have, what's going on and stuff like that. And once I'm done charting, I kind of have a little bit of downtime. And this is the opportunity that if you're really smart, we on my unit, we have handoff sheets. This is the time for you to really start to comb through the chart. I'm really, really big on making sure I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about these patients. You don't want it to be task oriented. You want to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. So this is the opportunity that I take to go through the chart, go to the initial admitting note, read the most recent note from the attending or any of the residents. If there are any other consults or specialties that are writing on the patients, I also look and I fill out the paper so that when I'm giving a report in the morning, because it's very unlikely, since I'm starting on Sunday night, it's very unlikely that the nurse that gave me a report today is going to be coming tomorrow morning, because most nurses, they don't break their weekends up. They don't split their weekends. So they'll do Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday would be a brand new day. So in my case, the nurse that I gave a report to today is not coming back, so it's not going to be a quick handoff in the morning. I have to basically start from head to toe, start from the beginning and let the nurse know, hey, patient coming with X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. Let me turn down the TV so you guys can hear me. All right, so the time now is 2 o'clock. Yeah, I hope you can see it. The time now is 2 o'clock in the morning. I normally would be on break at this time because I take break first. We divide our breaks into first break and second break. First break starts around 1-ish. Second break starts around 3-ish. But today I'm being a good sport and I'm letting somebody go before me. Normally I don't play about my break, but I'm vlogging today. So we do combine our breaks. We're supposed to get one 1-hour session and 2 15-minute breaks. But at night, because we're not really going outside, we're not eating, we're not doing anything, we just combine our breaks to 1 hour and 30 minutes. So
The time I should take break would be 3 o'clock. Now, when the young lady comes back, I'll be going at 3 o'clock. I normally go first because after break is when it gets really hectic. You do have some downtime, as you guys can see. Like I'm hoping I'm demonstrating that, but in the beginning of the shift is normally, like I said, I hit the ground running. I do have a period where it is a little slow and then it picks back up. And when it picks back up, it's normally like around 3 o'clock. So after I take my break, typically, and I return to the floor at 3 o'clock, that's when I start doing my patient care. Or if you're in nursing school, or if you're new, fresh, brand new nurse, we call them bed baths. That's when I normally do all of my cares, because again, like I mentioned, we don't always have staff. We do buddy up most of the times. More often than not, the nurses are the ones we just buddy up and do our cares together. So even if I do have, let's say, 2 patient cares to do, and I'm buddying up with another nurse, we're doing like 4 cares together. So after we do the cares and change maybe like dressings, you're changing canisters, you're changing piston syringes, you're changing tubings, all this other stuff, it kind of buys you enough time, because by 5 o'clock, that's when it starts getting crazy.
So my shift is over. I've completed all my work, and the hardest part is now trying to get somebody to endorse too. So the patients are already assigned, and unfortunately we're getting another nurse from another unit. It's 7:20, and ideally I should be out of here by 7:30. But because I like to give a thorough endorsement, as I mentioned before, like with my, writing and making sure I get the whole story, the whole profile, all the details, I need more than like 10 minutes to endorse. But nevertheless, I'm gonna see y'all when we go get our smoothie for breakfast, because my day is over and I'm back tonight. Okay, everybody, we have completed the shift. I've given my endorsement, a little bit late, but I gave it nonetheless. And now we are on our way to get our breakfast. So as of late, I've been making my own breakfast, but today we're gonna get a smoothie from the local spot. Hopefully they're open, and that pretty much completes a day in the life of a registered nurse who works a night shift.